Denise, Denise, it's Denise, it's Denise, it's Denise, Denise, it's a podcast party, it's a podcast party, it's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. It's Denise. Welcome to the show. Sorry I was late. I was trying to get started, but the Bray Wyatt ending to the show kind of kept me. I was writing down my notes of what I wanted to make sure I got across here on the show, and then also like putting some tweets out and whatnot, because I thought it was something totally it wasn't really what I expected on today's show. So I'm really excited to talk about Bray Wyatt. However, we will hold off on that so we can talk about some of the other items that occurred on Smackdown here today. For those of you who are wondering why I'm here starting 1 hour early and why I'm not reviewing Rampage, I have a flight to catch. So basically because of that, that's why I'm here an hour early. And that's why I'm only recapping Smackdown here today. But Smackdown did give us quite a bit to talk about. Obviously, the majority of our conversation is going to be about Bray Wyatt. So I do want to start off with everything else. But before we get to Bray Wyatt and before we get to all of the details that occurred with SmackDown, just a heads up, if you are new here, if this is your first time on the stream, thank you guys so much for joining me. I seriously appreciate each and every single one of you who comes into these shows, whether you come in on Tuesdays to watch the NXT post show, Wednesdays for the AEW Dynamite show, or Fridays, which is my usual SmackDown Rampage show. I appreciate you guys so much. And I'm so excited for this weekend because I'm going to be flying out to Mexico tonight, and I will be at Triple Mania tomorrow. And I'm pretty excited. I'm going to be doing interviews with talent on my show. For my YouTube channel, be gathering some of that stuff. And I'm also going to be doing some social media stuff for AAA. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I don't know what to expect. I'm ready just to expect anything, really. So it's going to be an exciting filled weekend. And then, yeah, so let's get into everything here today. Also, one more thing. If you guys do want to help support the show, please, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat at any point of the show to get your question, comment, statement, hot take, whatever it is, read on this stream. So let's get started, everyone. We're going to go ahead and kick things off with the opening of the show. So the opening of the show saw Drew McIntyre essentially attacking Karrion Kross. So Karrion Kross is apparently in some sort of car accident. We didn't actually see the car accident. By the time SmackDown opened up, you're just seeing the cars and, smoke and whatever. You guys know how a car accident looks like. And so that's what we were seeing at the top of the show. So I tuned in like a minute late because I watch on Fox Sports, and for some reason, SmackDown on the Fox Sports website always starts around 5:01, 5:02. If I log in at 4:59 or 5 on the dot, the stream isn't even up. So this time I was like, okay, I'm going to tune in at 5:01 so I won't miss the show. So I'm usually like a minute behind. I came in and I was like, who the hell is Drew? Why is Drew McIntyre beating up Edge? I thought it was freaking Edge because I could only see the black leather jacket and the hair. And for some reason, I just forgot about Kross. And inside my mind, I was like, why is Drew McIntyre beating up Edge? That lasted for like a split second. And then obviously, once I saw Kross's face, I was like, oh yeah, it's Kross. Oh yeah, that's a thing. So this is going to play into a story for later on, but in regards to Drew McIntyre carrying Kross, as we know, the events that unfolded for the strap match with Kross winning, obviously with the help of his wife, Scarlett, Drew McIntyre is pissed and he wants to get his revenge. So I actually liked the way that they opened up today's show, especially because I like when things open up in an unexpected way. And I've said this on a couple of other shows, but I love new scenery. And whenever we see any sort of new scenery on the show, or we get fights or brawls or whatever in some new portion of the building, I get excited for that kind of stuff. So I really liked the way that the show opened up. I ended up seeing the whole thing afterwards on social media, though, because I had just missed the little portion where they showed the cars. So I got right there for the fight, but I had missed the portion with the cars. So either way, I did get to see that. We got a super chat here from Nick Grasso, and this is in regards to Bray Wyatt, saying, did not expect that kind of promo from Bray Wyatt. I guess he's going for the split personality, but I do think that some of the promo was genuine. We will talk about that once we get to Bray Wyatt, but thank you so much to Nick Grasso for sending in our first super chat of the day. Alrighty, so that was the opening of the show. After this, we got into Kofi Kingston versus Sami Zayn. And I'm going to be really completely honest here. I really had high hopes for this match between Kofi and Sami because they're, great. Both of them are so great. But I thought the match itself could have been so much better. I thought the start was incredibly slow. The only things I really popped for was when Sami Zayn hit the Blue Thunder Bomb. And for a second, I thought that he was going to get the win because this was after Jay super kicked Xavier Woods on the outside. And so this distracted Kofi Kingston a little bit. But this ended up being a near fall. And we did end up seeing Sami Zayn eventually get the win, but this was with the help of Jey Uso. This was a really straightforward match just to continue telling the story with the bloodline and, Jey Uso essentially putting his, feelings aside just so that Sami Zayn could get the W because that's what Roman Reigns wants. But the match itself, I kind of felt like there was really nothing to really talk about. So I felt a little bit disappointed in this match, given the fact that it was the opening match. It was Sami Zayn versus Kofi Kingston. I was just expecting a lot more from this one. So unfortunately, I was a little bit just like, about the Kofi Kingston, Sami Zayn matchup here today. So let's get into this next portion because we need to talk about Triple H and Rey Mysterio. So Rey Mysterio is going to be a funny conversation. And so let me tell you what's going on here. So we all know the drill. We all know what's happening on Monday Night Raw with Rey Mysterio and Dominic and Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day. And we know that the last thing we saw was Dominic literally yelling at his dad and slapping him across the face on Raw because he wants Rey Mysterio to fight him. He wants him to fight him. And so finally, Dominic gets all the courage in the world and slaps Rey Mysterio. He slaps his own father. Okay, so that's the whole deal. So Rey Mysterio went to SmackDown to talk to Triple H about this. So he goes up to Triple H and he says, I'm at my breaking point. There doesn't seem to be a way to move forward, and I will not fight my son. He does not want to fight his son. He still sees him like a little boy. He still sees him like a baby. He still sees him, sleeping on his shoulder, and he tells Triple H, I can't do this anymore. I quit. So Triple H is like, hold up. I can't imagine what you're going through, but let's go inside my office and let's find a different solution, okay? Everybody on Twitter, when I posted this tweet up, was like, well, he's on SmackDown. Why doesn't he just switch brands? So that was kind of a little bit of the joke there. But aside from the joking aspect of this, I do want to say that I did like this beginning portion of this because I like seeing Rey Mysterio go to Triple H and say, like, dude, I can't take it anymore. I really legitimately cannot fight my son because that's legitimate, right? No parent wants to, well, I shouldn't say no parent, but some parents do not want to fight their children. They do not want to fight their offspring, right? They don't want to do that. So I felt this added a more serious note to the entire thing because for the most part, I know that I really haven't been taking this storyline seriously. It's so goofy, whatever, but mainly because it's like just the way that Dominic has been playing the role, right? But it is supposed to be a serious storyline when you think about it because it's a son fighting his father. So it's supposed to be a serious storyline. So I like seeing Rey Mysterio, at the end of his wits, going to Triple H and saying, you know what? I'm done. I've had it. I cannot do this any longer. I mean, realistically, Rey Mysterio should just wait till Christmas because if Rhea Ripley can't make tamales, I don't know where Dominic's going to get his from. I was dying to make that joke. Now that I said it, I don't know if it's that funny. Hey, we always come back. We always come back home because we want those goddamn delicious tamales. All right. So anyways, so he goes into Triple H's office and they're supposed to come up with something, right? Well, let's fast forward to the main event. So I'm going to talk about the main event now since it pertains to this storyline. All right. The main event, Ricochet versus Sheamus versus Rey Mysterio versus Solo Sikoa for the Intercontinental Championship, for a chance to face the Intercontinental Champion, Gunther. All right. So first and foremost, I want to shout out this match because it really was fun. And for those of you who are like, wait, why is Rey Mysterio in this match? Did she just say Rey Mysterio? I thought it was supposed to be Cross. It was supposed to be Cross, but because of the attack from Drew McIntyre, Cross was replaced by Rey Mysterio in this match. So most of you, if you did not see the show, you know where I'm going with this. All right. But before we get to the Rey Mysterio portion, I do want to talk about the actual match because the match was really, really fun. It was a good one. I also want to shout out Solo Sikoa's entrance. For some reason, I'm starting to think no, because most of the times that he's come out in recent weeks, he was with the Bloodline. So they had the Bloodline's entrance. When he was on SmackDown in Anaheim, I think I missed his entrance for some reason. I don't know if I missed his entrance or I couldn't see it properly. I don't even know. The point is that today was the first time I actually saw Solo Sikoa's entrance on the main roster, and it looked pretty damn sick. I actually really liked it, like the all black with the neon lights. It looked really, really cool. So shout out to the whoever decided what his entrance was going to look like. That was really great. Okay, so Cross is out. Rey Mysterio is in, and literally the second I tweeted that, everybody on Twitter was like, what an upgrade. This is an upgrade. What an upgrade, right? This match was a lot of fun. We had some really great moments, an awesome dive from Ricochet to Solo Sikoa. I loved the interactions with Rey Mysterio and Ricochet, and I also appreciated that Michael Cole made sure to note, it's the reason that Rey Mysterio, because if it wasn't for Rey Mysterio, he is the one who paved the way for guys like Ricochet to go out there and, work that kind of a style. So I did like that was sort of thrown in there in commentary so that by the time we got this build up with Rey Mysterio and Ricochet, it had a little bit of extra meaning. So I thought they did a really good job with just putting that over. Sheamus has been on a whole other level recently, but he basically gets Solo Sikoa, and Solo Sikoa is the lucky one today. He's the chosen one. He's the lucky one because he just ends up taking all of those freaking brutal chops from Sheamus. I think he did over 25 or 26, something along those lines was the number for the amount of times he got hit by Sheamus. That was freaking nuts. I loved it. Rey Mysterio ends up winning this match. So Rey Mysterio is now going to go on to face Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. So let me break this down to you. Rey Mysterio, who's feuding with his son wants him to fight him. Rey Mysterio doesn't want to fight his son. He goes to the boss, Triple H, and he says, I'm at my breaking point. I want to quit the company. I cannot fight my son. And Triple H is like, don't worry. We have a solution. Come on in. The solution, he's gonna fight Gunther. He could have just fought Dominic Mysterio. He's gonna fight Gunther. My God. I'm so looking forward to Rey Mysterio versus Gunther, but I know that Gunther is going to kill Rey Mysterio. So what we got here is really just irony. It's irony is what it is. Could have fought Dominic, but instead you're fighting Gunther. The moral of the story, kids, is just fight your kid. Or not, you're going to fight Gunther. I'm sorry, but I thought this was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious, but I am looking forward to that match because we know that Rey Mysterio has bomb-ass matches with guys like Gunther. You know it's going to be sick. You know that he's going to do a great freaking job of making you go, stop, Gunther, stop. Don't hurt Rey Mysterio anymore. That's going to be really fun. Regardless, he's going to get his ass kicked by Gunther. My God. We got a super chat here, by the way. Thank you so much to Danny Padilla. Danny Padilla says, damn, our girl Denise gonna get to see Fenix and Vikingo live. Jealous. Will you be reviewing Triple Mania on Speak Now? Thanks, Denise. Have a safe flight. I won't be able to review the show because I'm still gonna be in Mexico. However, I do a show on Sundays with Will called After the Week on my channel. And I'm most likely going to be talking about, at least mentioning some of what happened in Triple Mania on that show. But I'll be live tweeting. I'll be doing interviews with talent. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I get an interview with Vikingo. So fingers crossed that I get an interview with him, or else I'm going to be like, but let's hope for it. Regardless, thank you so much to Danny Padilla for the very kind and generous super chat here today. We got a lot of people putting over. Her mom, it says, rip Rey Mysterio. Also, there's another thing to know that I forgot to mention. After that match with the Fatal 4-Way, Rey Mysterio did say that this was his new home. So it looks like he is a SmackDown guy now. So there you go. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got JM Melagrito, who says Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio will be for WrestleMania, I'm sure. And it gives Dominic more time to look. Rey Mysterio definitely has to be on that WrestleMania 39 card. Like, there is no way you cannot have Rey Mysterio on that show. They just got to. They got to have Rey Mysterio on that show. So if they do find a way to hold it off until WrestleMania, keep in mind we still got several months. I do think not only does it give time for Dominic to like improve, but I would be okay with that if they were to do Rey and Dominic. I think it would work, especially given you have 2 nights of WrestleMania. Not every match could be, The Rock Roman, right? So I think Rey Mysterio Dominic would actually work at WrestleMania 39 if that was going to happen. But again, it's just so early to say. But we got more people really putting over all of this, saying that the match was really fun, and it is true. It was really fun. All right, guys, but let's go ahead and continue on from this. So let's get into the women's stuff, because the women's stuff was really, it was actually felt pretty special. Especially for Roxanne, because as you all know, or for those of you who have been following NXT, so basically what's going on is Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez, they're feuding, and they're doing a pick your poison match for this coming Tuesday on NXT. And Roxanne is selecting the opponent of Cora Jade, and Cora Jade is thus selecting the opponent of Roxanne. She was picking her opponent from SmackDown, and Cora was going to be picking her opponent from the Raw side of things. So we already knew that Roxanne Perez was going to be there. That was promoted on NXT. And we have a backstage segment where Roxanne goes up to Raquel, and she says, you know what? I want you to be the person that faces Cora Jade. And Raquel's like, all right, like, yeah, sure. And she says yes. So from the looks of it, it's going to be Raquel versus Cora Jade. So Bayley then comes in. She comes in there with Dakota and with Io, and Bayley's kind of like, why didn't you pick me? Why didn't you pick me? Like, I'm the one you should be talking to. And Roxanne said no, because she's on a losing streak. So I was like, oh, damn. And Bayley gets hot. She gets so good when it comes to like her, I don't know, savageness, her evilness, whatever you want to call it. And I forgot what she calls Roxanne, but she calls her, I think, like an idiot or something, or she calls her stupid, something along those lines. But it was freaking hilarious. I wish I would have wrote it down, but I was too busy laughing about it to write it down. But it was pretty damn funny. But this basically set up a 6-woman tag, and we ended up getting this match with Roxanne teaming up with Raquel and Shotzi and taking on Damage Control. This match was a fun match. This was Roxanne's first match on the main roster, getting to be in there with all of these girls. She kicked it off looking really fiery. She looked really great in here. There was a lot of really good moments. I loved Io's moonsault that she did to I think while Kai was on the top of Raquel's shoulders, so that looked pretty damn impressive. Shotzi followed with a crossbody, and then we had a nice little back and forth between Bayley and Roxanne. And Bayley, of course, got the win here. But I thought this was a perfectly fine match. I thought it was entertaining, and it was just cool to see Roxanne in there mixing it up with the main roster girls. It's very clear. And this has been clear for quite some time now, really. But if you haven't been watching NXT, so when Roxanne came in, she immediately won the breakout tournament. She was going after the women's championship. She got put into this really big storyline. She won the NXT Women's Tag Title. She has been a major focal point since she came into NXT. So for them to not only do all of that with Roxanne on NXT, but then to also give her this opportunity to be in this match where the main story, this all got set up because of Roxanne Perez, and to give her a lot during this match in terms of a lot of time. She wasn't just like the person. She could have just been there and maybe had like a quick little moment while Raquel and Shotzi did all the work. But no, they had her go in there and, actually show people what she can do. So I really liked this match. I thought it was really good, and it got me excited for what can be for Roxanne Perez there on the main roster. So there you go. But we'll still see. We don't know who Cora Jade is technically picking just yet. We'll find out on Raw. We got a super chat here from Mike Parker. Thank you so much to Mike, who says, Roxanne kicking out of the Bayley to belly was a cool moment. Yeah, that was a really cool moment, too, to see that. Thank you so much for bringing it up here, Mike Parker, and thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. All right, guys, let's move on from here. We got a quick squash match, and this was Braun Strowman taking out some jobbers. I think their names were James and Brian. I didn't even catch their full names. This was a quick squash match. Basically, all you need to know from this is that Omos came through the crowd with MVP. Oh my God, I forgot that Omos and MVP were even a thing. I had completely and utterly forgot about Omos. I had forgotten. I was like, oh yeah, Omos. Oh yeah, he's with MVP. Completely forgot about it. But they're gonna do Braun and Omos at some point. Sure, why not? He's a big guy. Braun, I just want to see Braun take out Omos. Unfortunately, things haven't really been too great with Omos, so I just want to see Braun be impressive and beat him up or something. That's all. That's all I want. There really wasn't anything else, guys. All right. Maximum Male Models. LA Knight versus Mansoor. God. Maximum Male Models. I'm not a fan, but whatever. LA Knight is officially, like they said on commentary, divorced from Maximum Male Models. He's divorced now. It's not a thing. So he's no longer with them. So this was a match. This was just a match. I want to point out some stuff here. What's the stuff that I want to point out? Maxine gets in the way at one point during this match. She doesn't want LA Knight to hurt Mansoor. She's a good friend. Or is she a man? Yeah, she's a good manager, rather. Mace, forget his freaking, what do they call him again? Mace, what's his freaking Maximum Male Model's name? Whatever. Mace gets in there and he's like, you wouldn't hit a woman. You wouldn't hit a woman. He gets in LA Knight's face. You wouldn't hit a woman. Really funny. That was actually my favorite part of the whole thing. We got a couple of boring rest holds. A couple of good moments for LA Knight. Mansoor did a good job of selling for him. LA Knight won. Post-match, LA Knight goes off and cuts a promo. He says that he's putting everybody on notice, including the SmackDown roster. And then he says it's LA Knight's game. I have very, very minimal interest here, guys. I'm sorry. This one's not for me. It's not for me. It hasn't been for me. It's still not for me. And I'm out of here. But we're not done yet, because when we come back, we still got so much more to talk about. We got Bray Wyatt to talk about. We got lots to talk about. But first, it is time to hear a message from our sponsors, everyone. That is right. Do you ever get frustrated that you cannot watch certain live sport events because they aren't televised or available in your country? I know I do. I definitely get frustrated about that. Well, With NordVPN, you can now switch your virtual locations to a country that is showing the sporting event that you want to watch, and so that you don't miss out on any of the action. Now, I heard VPNs are great for online protection, but they slow down your internet speed. Luckily for me, NordVPN is the fastest VPN in the entire world. I didn't even notice it running, so I can actually stream games online. I can watch whatever I want to watch with no buffering and no lagging whatsoever. Furthermore, NordVPN prevents my internet service provider from bandwidth throttling, so I have a consistently reliable internet connection. It's only the price of a cup of coffee every single month. That's not a lot. It's a small price to pay for premium cybersecurity and access to a vast amount of entertaining content from all over the world. So, grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/F4W to get a huge discount off of your NordVPN plan, plus 4 months for free. That is right, 4 months for free. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money back. Now, I have included the link to this in case you guys don't want to type it in. No worries. I have included the link in the description box below so that you guys can head on over to nordvpn.com/F4W and get the deal of a lifetime. Well, thank you so much to NordVPN. Once again, the link is in the description box below. All right. And now back to the show here. We got a super chat here from Alex Diaz 1990 who says that Roxanne Perez is generational. Wish we got Rox versus Sasha soon. Well, never say never. I mean, clearly you could say never, right? But we still don't know what's going on in terms of, we haven't heard any updates regarding Sasha Banks. But if we're hopeful, let's just say we're hopeful and Sasha Banks is, returning to WWE, and you just never know. This could be a possibility. You could see Roxanne versus Sasha someday. You just never know these days anymore, but who knows? It's too early to say, at least right now with no updates. We haven't gotten any updates, so there's nothing really. It's just a wishful thinking. But Alex Diaz, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you, Mace. I always forget Mace's Maximum Male model's name. Mace. They just sound the same to me. Mace, Mansoor. They sound exactly the same to me. All right. So now let's go ahead and get into Hit Row versus Legado del Fantasma. So we had Legado debut last week where they attacked Hit Row. And today we had Hit Row versus Legado. This was pretty straightforward as well. There was one moment that I didn't really like because I just thought it took forever. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, bro, at this point, I think it was Cruz del Toro, was just like laying there for like the longest time because Top Dollar took the longest time to do an elbow drop. His elbow, oh my God, it took forever. It was enough for me just to be there like, all right, he's been waiting there on the mat for quite some time. Let's keep it going here. But we end up seeing some outside interference. Santos gets involved. Zelina jumps on B-Fab from the outside. And then finally we see Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro both double team and take down the big guy, Top Dollar, and get the win. So this was perfectly straightforward. It got them their win, and that's about that. I really just want to say a couple of things about Legado. First and foremost, loving the freaking presentation. We already, so far, because it really just got started. So there's only so much to love, right? But they did have a lot of presence on NXT, and they're coming back here, and they have that exact same presence. And Zelina is adding a lot already. She comes out there, she has a lot of confidence, she looks great, she knows the part, she knows the role. We've seen her in something similar before with Andrade, and now to see her with Santos, I'm liking it so far. But other than that, it was a straightforward win for them. They had to get the win here, guys. I was a little nervous. I was like, oh God, they better not have them win this match. Like, you do not want to have them lose their first match on SmackDown. So I was very happy that they didn't do that for sure. All right, so now let's go ahead and jump into Sonia Deville. So Sonia Deville, we last saw her on NXT, but that's totally different. So she's out there doing an interview with Kayla Braxton, and she's basically attacking Liv Morgan. She's saying that Liv Morgan keeps getting moment after moment, and that each and every single time Liv Morgan fails. And so she's back to hating Liv Morgan. Prior to that really long storyline that we saw with Sonia Deville and Naomi, remember that? Remember, that feels like forever ago. Well, it lasted a really long time. Well, prior to that, Sonia Deville and Liv Morgan were having a little bit of beef, and I don't ever think it ever really came to a full final. Like, I don't remember there really being any closure. It kind of just felt like it just ended. Like, there wasn't any real closure. Well, whatever. We're back to Sonia Deville and Liv Morgan here. So she's going off, talking all this smack on Liv Morgan. And finally, Liv comes from behind and she attacks Sonia Deville. She smacks her on a table, just like running her face right into that table. Then she climbs up the little scaffolding that they use for the interview setup. And she ends up doing her senton onto Sonia, who's laying on the table. So again, they're just further pushing that, Liv Morgan is, kind of, I don't want to say losing her mind, because she's not like psycho crazy like Becky Lynch was at one point, but she is definitely finding new ways to inflict pain on others. I think that's the best way to say it, at least right now. So anyways, we might actually finally get a full circle thing here with Sonia Deville and Liv Morgan. So I don't hate it. I feel bad for Liv because everybody trashed her match with Ronda Rousey at Extreme Rules, and everybody hated the match. So I do feel bad for Liv. I feel really bad for Liv because I don't think this is what a lot of us had in mind for what her run as champion was going to be. And it really wasn't that great. So I do kind of feel bad. So I hope that, I don't know, I hope that this new version of Liv Morgan that we're seeing, I hope it really starts to connect with people. And I think for the most part, it is, because people are going to be responding whenever she does that senton off of anywhere. People are going to respond to that. It's exciting stuff, right? It's a huge spot. People are going to respond to that. But I do feel bad for Liv Morgan. But we'll see what she does here with Sonia Deville. All right. Let's get into... We're almost, actually, it's time. All right, guys, here we go. It's officially the portion of the show where we get to talk about Bray Wyatt. So get your thoughts in here because I have been so excited. It took everything in me not to start the show off with Bray Wyatt, but I wanted to, give it a second. All right. So, oh man, where do I begin here with Bray? So, first and foremost, we need to talk about those dang graphics. Right at the top of the show, maybe a couple minutes in, they showed this graphic that said Bray Wyatt returns. And then in the bottom, it said up next. And I'm thinking, oh shit, I thought this was going to close the show, but they're doing it now. It's up next. This is great. Phenomenal. I'm excited. Let's see what happens. And then he wasn't next. And so, I was looking dumb on Twitter after sharing that graphic. And I'm like, oh yeah, Bray Wyatt up next. No, he ain't. He didn't come out next. So then whatever, more stuff happens. And then again, they show the graphic a second time. And it said up next again. And then instead, Cole is like, well, we're going to basically recap what happened at Extreme Rules. Okay, fine. Now, I don't mind them recapping Bray Wyatt's return from, return to WWE from Extreme Rules. I don't mind them recapping that. What I do mind is them recapping like literally every single thing that happened at Extreme Rules. I feel like they got to really, really trim down the recaps and only do the ones you feel you must do. Bray Wyatt's return is a must-do recap. Okay, cool. Everything else, maybe not so much. I did feel like we just had too many Extreme Rules recaps. And when you watch the show, you don't really need to rewatch it again. But I get it. There's a bunch of people that didn't watch, but that tune in for the weekly programming. But as a person who actually watched the show, I get fed up sometimes with all the recaps. But regardless, we get another one, another graphic, the third graphic. Finally, the third graphic of the night says, Bray Wyatt coming tonight. And I'm like, all right, somebody needs to talk to the graphics guy or whoever's queuing the graphics up, because twice they showed the wrong graphic. Twice. All right, but whatever. Finally, the moment comes. We see the door that we saw at Extreme Rules. And finally, it opens up and all of this light, this blue light comes shining through. Then we get this music playing, and I'm sure the name of the song is out there. I don't have it, but in the beginning, it starts off like a little bit like creepy, like what you would expect Bray Wyatt to have. And then it starts getting what I called groovy, because you start to get a little bit more movement in the song. And then finally, it turns into this, alternative rock song, which I really liked. I don't know who sings it or what the name of the song is, but damn, I liked it. Call me a fan. Thank you. Someone says it's Shatter Code Orange. Thank you very much. All right. So I like the song. The freaking song is great. And I especially liked it because as Bray is walking out and he's holding up the light and he's walking through the crowd, he's walking through the crowd, and obviously everybody's got their little lights up and whatnot. So it's really this like, it's almost like this suspenseful moment, like they're building towards him finally getting to the ring. So I really liked this whole build-up with the music playing. At one point, like when he came out, you heard the crowd reaction, you heard the pop, etc. But as he's walking through, you really just hear the music. You don't really hear the people. So, I mean, I'm wondering if they just lowered the people or the people were just like in awe. I don't know, but I liked the presentation of this because you were just hearing the music and feeling the moment. And there was like no other distractions. Personally, I kind of liked the way that this played out just a little bit more. I don't want to say more than Extreme Rules. No, maybe because in Extreme Rules, when they did all of those reveals, I thought it kind of took a little bit to finally get to Bray Wyatt versus this time it was like, bam, here's the door. Bam, here's Bray Wyatt. And now he's walking out. So I think I did like that just because it felt a little bit different. Whatever. So Bray Wyatt finally gets to the ring, and in all of these podcasts, people were talking about, what version of Bray Wyatt are we going to see? How different is he going to be? We all know that he's a creative guy. We've been seeing all of these, these QR codes that have been leading to all of these different Easter eggs and hints. We've been seeing all of this White Rabbit stuff. We've just been seeing so much, and you're wondering like, okay, what is going on in the complexity of the Bray Wyatt mind? What are we going to see here? So I think a lot of us had this idea of what we were going to expect from Bray Wyatt. And I think the idea that we had was, what new character are we going to be seeing from Bray Wyatt? Key word here is character. Now, instead, Bray Wyatt goes out there and he is him. He's just him. And he says this. He starts it off and his voice is a little like cracky, right? Like, when you kind of want to get emotional and you start getting a little emotional. He starts off by saying that he's grateful to be there, but that he's nervous. And I'm like, all right, where are we going with this? I still really wasn't sure. The crowd is chanting welcome back, and they're huge welcome back chants. And finally, he just says, this is just me. This is somebody that I've never been before. You're just going to see me. This is just me. And I'm thinking, okay, at this point, I still didn't know where we were going with this. Then finally, he continues on, and what you get is a couple of minutes of this, I don't even want to say character, and I even hate saying the word promo, because what we got, I hate saying, I don't want to say character and I don't want to say the word promo, but what we got was a person telling you what they had been through while they were gone. Because while he was gone, we didn't see him do any interviews. We didn't see anything. Nothing. There was no any interviews, nothing. This was really this was the first we heard from him, period. So he comes out, he's emotional, and he starts basically saying that he lost a lot in his life during this period, that he lost his career, he lost his self-confidence, he lost 2 people that were close to him, and he lost his way. As he's saying these words, his voice is cracking. He seems to be getting very emotional, maybe possibly even holding back tears. And he starts to say that he felt like everything he did didn't matter, like nothing mattered. And let me tell you, while listening to Bray Wyatt talk about this, I'm pretty sure that so many of us were freaking like relating to Bray Wyatt during this, because we've all freaking been there. Like, we've all been in some sort of situation where like things did not pan out and things didn't go the way we wanted it to, or we lost somebody that we loved. And so him talking about these things really, I think, just surprised people because it was unexpected. You were expecting a character and you didn't get that. You got him. And then he starts saying that, you know, fans would tell him how, you know, they found inspiration in him, right? And then he goes on to say that the fans, they have saved his life. And I'm hanging on to every single word that Bray is saying at this point. I'm thinking, holy shit, this is literally like one of the best, and again, I hate to say promos, but one of the best promos I have heard, especially following the crowd reaction that Bray got, and then to be followed up by this that was totally unexpected, I thought was really fucking awesome. Like, hands down, awesome. And it was awesome because it was genuine, and because so many of us can relate it to it, right? Some, maybe not the entire thing, but certain aspects of what he had to say. And also just like him being like so emotional, it made me sad. I was looking at this and I thought, man, the last emotion that I thought that I was going to be feeling watching Bray Wyatt return tonight was sad. I was not expecting to feel sad throughout this. I was expecting to feel confused, creeped out. I don't know. I was just thinking of all these different ways that Bray Wyatt could follow up the White Rabbit stuff, right? I wasn't expecting to feel legitimately freaking sad. So then finally, he's kind of like cut off midway, because forget what the last portion he said was, but it didn't feel like his sentence was over though. So he kind of gets cut off and he kind of has like a face like a, you know, like, what is that kind of reaction? And we go into this video where we kind of see a similar video that we've been seeing in regards to the promotion of Bray Wyatt. And the little talking thing is saying, forget the future, forget the past, etc. And then it closes off with the little logo. And it just ends. That's how the show ends. So it was one of those things where I didn't want this to end. I wanted to keep hearing what Bray Wyatt was saying. I wanted to keep hearing what he had gone through during this period. So I did kind of feel like at the end, I was like, oh shit, the show's over. I looked up at the clock, it was 6:59, and I was like, damn, the show's over. And I kind of felt like, damn, I didn't want the show to end. I was really, really hooked on what Bray was saying. And I gotta tell you, I'm surprised, I'm shocked that this is what we got, because it was unexpected and it was nice. It was nice. It was nice in a sad way, or sad in a nice way. I don't know how to describe that. What did you guys think of this Bray Wyatt promo? What did you think about what he said? What did you think of the moment? Was it unexpected to you as well? Let's get some thoughts in here. We got a super chat here from Brandon Rosen who says, fantasy booking, what if it's not a split personality thing with Bray? What if it's a fan of Bray's who took his words to the next level and built a faction that Bray is now trying to fight off because he changed his ways? So I've been seeing the whole split personality thing be brought up here. So we might be getting like, because we might be getting, you know, versus like what we saw in the ring was like one version of him. And then what we saw in the video seemed to be like a different version. So I get where you're coming with the split personality. And I think that would be pretty like cool to see, especially to see how that would be like executed for his version of that. But But let me see. You said, what if it's a fan of Bray's who took his words to the next level and built a faction that Bray is now trying to fight off because he changed his ways? That reminds me of the song Stan from Eminem. I don't know in terms of like how this is connected to the characters that we saw, I guess you can say, come to life, or not just come to life, but I remember Will saying that it was like the past iterations of Bray Wyatt, and I really liked that whole idea. So I'm curious to see how all of that, what we saw at Extreme Rules, connects to what we saw here today, or maybe if it even connects. I mean, it feels like it has to, right? But part of me also feels like maybe this was just him wanting to talk to the people. It's been a good amount of time, so maybe it was just him wanting to talk to the people. I don't know. Brandon Roseanne, thank you so much for the super chat. Let's see what else we got here and see what people are saying about this. Champagne Supernova says, I read WWE hired the horror writer from Bray who worked with while he was off. That was something that I remember talking about on the Raw post show as well here. And this is from YGB, who says, loved how he took real stuff and made it a part of his act. This might be similar to the Abyss, Joseph Park, multiple personas thing. Big fan of what Abyss did back in TNA with all of that freaking awesome stuff. Let's see what else we got here. This is from Johiro, who says, not sure that I like the lantern again, but I get it. I feel like that's almost something that the lantern to me feels just like, I don't know. It's like the one thing that is still the same, right? I mean, besides him. Well, technically. Him in physical form, right? All right. James Jones says, King really not there to say much while you can. Oh, wait, sorry. I don't think I understand that one. So let me move on to a couple of other stuff here that we got here and see what people are saying. This is from Eddie, who says, I think Bray Wyatt will tell the story about the 6 personality character of himself. He will fight himself to become dangerous. Then before then, the Wyatt 6 will be formed. And let's get some more. We got more people saying that this was art. Fernando here says, this was a great and surprising promo from Bray. I loved it. Have fun this weekend. Thank you so much, Fernando, for this. King of Fuego Mundo says, so it was hype, the White Rabbit. King of Fuego Mundo says, what's the connection to the White Rabbit and the symbol plus the Sesame Street puppet act ? Well, those are all things that we're clearly going to be finding out. I do not have the answers for any of that. Again, I thought we were going to get some White Rabbit type of promo. I don't know what I thought we were going to get, but I was very pleasantly surprised. For sure. Kayaput says, dude got fired, lost friends, lost himself. Many of us can relate. Hell yes. Hell yes. Jose Alvarado says, it's best not to worry about what the masked Bray was saying, but rather try to understand that this masked Wyatt persona is supposed to be creepier and the darkest side of Bray even more than the Fiend. And James Jones says they got the momentum for sure. Steven says, well, you've got the whole more intense Fiend-looking character on the screen. And let's get some more thoughts and see what people are saying here about this. Eddie says, I think Bray Wyatt will tell the story about 6 personalities disorders. Okay, that was something that I read already. Okay, cool. And man, we got a lot of good stuff here. Charlton says, Denise no stand. That's crazy. I thought she only knew Taylor Swift songs. I love how everybody thinks that. You know what? I'm full of surprises, man. I'm full of freaking surprises. Johira says, wait a minute, is the mask guy Bo Dallas? That was also something that was in the news cycle as well about Bo Dallas too. So I don't know if this is just like Bray by himself or not. I don't know. James says, yeah, but nothing we can do. He's been gone a while and you can feel it. Doppelganger says, Sucker is in with the sad promo and hit us with a disturbing ending. Felt like a horror movie trope. Piz243 says, I really like Bray's new entrance. I feel like it's perfect for him. Yeah, I really liked it too. It really kept you like thinking, what the hell is going to happen right now? Oh my God, guys. All right. So there you go. That was SmackDown. That was the first, I guess you can say, new iteration of Bray Wyatt that we're going to be seeing. And clearly we have more questions than we do answers, but we got a super chat here from Luke Turner. Thank you so much to Luke for sending this in. Luke says, I'm glad they gave Wyndham Bray. Time to talk so purely. It was so relatable. And also I got excited for everything in the future because there are still so many ways this can go. Yeah, and here's the thing, like they don't have to rush things because one of my concerns was, you know, the Bray Wyatt always starts off popular and people are into it, but then it casually like fades away to become something that not everybody loves. And that was one of the things where I was like, damn, like I hope that doesn't happen, you know, again. I hope that they can find a way to really stabilize that momentum that he has, especially right now with this return and given the reaction that he got from the crowd. And I think now, again, with this new regime, I feel like there's going to be more of an opportunity to actually listen to maybe some of Bray's ideas and do things that are not so like outrageous, but maybe more in line with some of the, because I feel like nobody, the person that you want to be or this idea that you have, because we know Bray is like the super creative guy. Obviously, he has the best idea of what this character can be or what he wants to do out there. And sometimes you just can't explain these ideas. You just have to go out there and do them. So I do hope we get to see more of a closer version of maybe what Bray wants to do versus like before where we were getting more of like, okay, well, this is what could work with the Bray character, but this is also more of Vince McMahon's input into the story, right? Now, with the new regime, I feel like we can see something that maybe falls in line more with what Bray might want to see for this character. So that's kind of how I feel about this. I'm looking forward to it. And given that I was surprised tonight, it makes me excited to see what else is going to be unexpected from this Bray Wyatt persona. I don't know how else to say it, guys. We're just going to have to go with persona. Sean Stapleton says, I feel like it's going to be the wrestling version of Split, but never felt like I related to a wrestler as much as that promo, and the new song is so good. Dude, for reals. I think everybody grabbed a couple of things where you were like, holy shit, oh my God, I felt that way too. Huh? You know, and then if you're seeing somebody go out there and they're emotional and they're, you know, practically on the verge of tears, you're going to get a reaction. I mean, we're not made of stone here. You're gonna react to that. You're going to react to that. Seriously. All right. I'm going to get a couple more comments in here and then wrap up the stream. So last thing I want to say, guys, is I will be back here on Tuesday to talk about NXT. And then I will also be here on Wednesday to talk about AEW Dynamite. And then back here on Friday to talk about SmackDown and Rampage. Alrighty, everyone. That is it for today. If you watched the replay of the show, let me know what you guys thought about Bray Wyatt here on SmackDown. Until next time, I'm Denise Salcedo. Have an awesome weekend, everybody, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, everyone.